What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here with some more content for you guys as the Premier League campaign kicked off yesterday. Everyone's so excited. Spurs are back. And Spurs are really back. Got battered 3-0 by Brentford at the G-Tech, which was an absolute shambles from start to finish. We were all saying it coming into the game. Spurs aren't ready. Look at this team. Look at the way we were all pre-season, to be honest. And it was pretty much worse than we could all have imagined, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then not only did we all think we weren't ready, and then De Zerbi confirms yesterday, I didn't think we were ready, which is not exactly what you want to hear from your manager going into the new season.
We were all saying before the game.
I know, but it's still not. I mean, you're the manager of the team. Obviously, you should expect the team, or you should want the team to be ready from the first game. So it's not great to hear from manager, but it was evident.
Sure, he did want it.
I know, but I'm just saying it's not a great thing to hear from your manager, wasn't it? I knew we weren't ready, and so it came to pass, and we could all see it. But it's one of those early season games where I think Brentford, probably, if you're looking at the list of teams we could have faced, they're going to be near the top in terms of just the worst team on that occasion to be coming up against.
Yeah, no, it really was. They're much more set. Well, they are a settled team. Not many players at the World Cup. Look, we can roll the excuses, but I did think it had a major impact on it. And Spurs' preparation coming into the season has been absolutely tragic. I just want to bring up a couple of points or stats from Opta that have not these ones, but the ones that I've just got written here about how poor yesterday actually was. Brentford attempted 26 shots in the game. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's not the stat I wanted to bring up. I don't know where it was, but basically it says Spurs have conceded the highest XG yesterday since 2024 or something.
Really?
Yeah. Which is mad to think about the XG levels that we were conceding last season.
Yeah. And we didn't exactly create a lot either. No, yesterday was a shit show from start to finish. We couldn't defend. We were completely open at the back. And
it was, so here, Brentford's XG of 3.96 is the most in the Tottenham game that we've conceded since December 2024 when we played Liverpool and we conceded a 5.36 XG. How mad is that? And it's also our heaviest opening day defeat in the Premier League era, levelled with the Manchester United one when we lost 3-0.
And we ended up actually having a really good start to the season in that year. That was under Harry Redknapp.
Yeah.
And we went on and
11-12.
I think we lost the first two games 3-0 and 5-1 to United and City. And then we went on and won like the next 10 games or something. So
that was the start of the season when Arsenal lost 8-2 to United. Yeah, that season.
So that also just goes to show that you can't make too many sweeping conclusions from one opening day defeat. And I think there's a lot of reasons why we shouldn't make sweeping conclusions, but there's definitely things we can look at yesterday and think, God, that didn't look good, and that was a worry.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think straight from the off, you could tell Spurs weren't really at the races, all starting from when Lucas Bergvall tried to dribble it out from our own penalty box. He lost the ball. Nathan Collins had that chance where it was a gilt-edged chance. It could have been 1-0 early doors and the warning signs were there. And then 5 minutes later, they do go 1-0 up with some shambolic defending from Tottenham Hotspur. All across the back line, I think all the players were at fault, not tracking their men, statues. It was just terrible, chasing shadows. They were able to pop it around us like we weren't even there. Like, it was just so hard to watch.
Yeah, I was rewatching that goal just before, and but we're actually in terms of like, you look at when Sangare picks up the ball, we're not in a bad position. Like defensively, you think, okay, Bergvall's got Sangare, Tonali's got I can't remember who he passed it to, but he's got that guy. There's I think a 2-on-4 in our favour in the box, and okay, well, I've got this under control. And then just within a split second, so quick 1-2 Sangare, Bergvall loses man, he bursts past Robertson, takes two players out of the game. Gray goes walkabout, Sonetti's not marking anyone, a simple pullback, and Lewis Potter is in the penalty box, just outside the 6-yard box, and no one's near him. Yeah. It's like crazy how we've gone from one situation to the next within a split second. That's how quickly things can change, and the defence was just all over the place. It was all over the place. I think when you're assessing yesterday, defensively we were a shambles, but I'm not saying we expect that. Obviously we want us to defend well, but there are reasons why we were getting caught cold and, physically we weren't up to it. But I think the biggest worry, you have to say, just in general, was how our build-up was non-existent compared to what we've seen in pre-season and compared to, what De Zerbi, really focuses on and his training. I understand, again, there's a lot of things going into it, but we have Senesi and Van Ecke on the pitch with Kinski, right? 3 players that we expect to be very good on the ball, very proficient, good passers, players who we expect to be able to play through the lines, and they've worked a lot in build-up, this pre-season. I know Van Ecke and Senesi haven't played a lot together in pre-season, but still, their passing game is supposed to be the strongest element. Yet, we had zero ability to keep the ball, zero ability to play through Brentford. And it seemed like they were just waiting for us. They knew exactly what we were going to do, and we had no answer to it in build-up, which, can you say that's a fitness thing? Can you say that's something to do with how ready you are for the season? That surely should be something we're at least a little bit competent at, and it didn't seem we were at all.
Yeah, I think you saw little moments, albeit few and far between. But I do think, definitely the fitness and the sharpness come into play, because you're looking at that Brentford midfield, and Sangare was just bossing the show on and off the ball. Wasn't giving any of our midfielders a moments of rest. I think we could have expected a lot better from Van Ecke. I think Senesi was doing some decent balls into the middle, and his ball playing ability was a little better than Van Ecke. But Van Ecke just had a complete off day yesterday. I don't know what happened to him. On the ball, off the ball, it was just completely tragic from him. And what you're saying about the build-up play? Yes, it was absolutely shocking. But I do think fitness does come into play a little bit there.
Well, it should do, but surely how fit you are. Obviously, it makes a difference. I'm not saying it doesn't, and that ultimately I think was the biggest issue yesterday. I think Brentford were well on top of us fitness-wise. They bullied us. They hounded us. But still, when it comes to those little patterns of play in build-up, when it comes to how you're playing out the back, that shouldn't require top-level fitness to be able to play a few passes together. You know what I mean? There should be more than what we saw yesterday, even under the circumstances. Yeah. And it was very frustrating watching that.
We were just 5-10 yards off the pace in every area of the pitch. I mean, it's hard. If you drop off a few percent in the Premier League, you can get these performances. We were far off. We were much more than a few percent off the pace yesterday. So it was just a really hard watch. I mean, those first 45 minutes, man, we didn't create a chance. We didn't get in their box, not once. We had a couple of shots from outside the area. Conor Gallagher had one, and I think there might have been another one. But we didn't enter their box and have a shot inside their box once in the whole first 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. And that's just you come into the season, you're all excited, you expect the players to be chomping at the bit to get on the pitch, and that's what you show in the first 45 minutes. It's absolutely disgraceful. I thought Bergvall was just leaving all sorts of holes in that midfield. We were 2-0 down at half-time. It could have been 3 or 4. That's the reality.
And the second goal was a disgrace as well from so many players.
Yeah.
Richarlison, weak with his hold-up play. Really weak when you watch it back. It's so easy for, I think it's Aya to just get a little toe on the ball. Bergvall, just lackadaisical. You watch it again, and he seems to try a little ball roll in such a dangerous position. And Jensen doesn't even have to break a sweat. Just I'm going to take that, thank you. And he takes it. He gets all the time in the world to walk to the penalty box pretty much and take a shot. And then Kinski, with the softest parry you're ever going to see. So poor. It wasn't even a great shot. And Kinski parries it right into the worst area. And then Senesi is on his heels, just watching Janelt get there first. And he should be anticipating the danger. He watches Janelt just get there and tap it home for an easy goal. And it was just so poor from everyone in that goal. It was just everyone was weak, sloppy, off the pace. It was just horrible. That second goal was so horrible.
But you're looking at these players there. You can understand some maybe been at the World Cup, haven't had too much of a pre-season. But Archie Gray, he hasn't had he wasn't at the World Cup. He's had a full pre-season. Lucas Bergvall, he went out early. Tonali, he wasn't at the World Cup. He had a completely free pre-season. Mikey Moore, Conor Gallagher, Mattis Tell, Richarlison. All these guys, a lot of our team didn't have a stop and start pre-season. They're all there for pretty much the start of it. So why?
But all the players that you mentioned aren't going to be starters.
Yeah, that's true, but you still expect a lot better from them.
Yeah, you expect to be able to be competitive. I think you you expect better than them, but then you put it all together, and then it's a problem. I think if you maybe have one or two, but then all of a sudden you've got five non-starters, players who probably aren't going to be starting, plus they're young and they're not as experienced, not as physical as the opposition, and then you add in that plus the other players on the pitch, all new signings, looking to gel and have had disruptive pre-seasons. You put all of that together and you get what we saw yesterday.
Basically. And look, I think we envisaged a really tough game, and we envisaged Spurs unlikely to win coming into the game, but we didn't envisage it to be as bad as it was. Like, that was like our worst nightmare, pretty much, what happened in that game yesterday, because every problem that we highlighted before the game, it came to pass, but times 10, basically.
Yeah. I think I kind of expected the struggles, first of all, physically. I said set pieces, I'm really worried, and they bullied us. I expected struggles in stopping Brentford. I definitely expected struggles there. But I did not expect how poor we were on the ball. I expected a lot better than what I saw. I expected a few cleaner passes. I expected a lot less sloppiness. I expected us to be able to enter their final third and mount some more attacks than we were able to do. That was the biggest disappointing thing. I think if we were beaten like we were yesterday, but we created a few chances, and you just see if it starts to click, we up our fitness, and we start putting those chances away, then it could have been a different story. But we were just outplayed like every facet of the game yesterday. We weren't able to even create a chance, let alone be clinical. I know Mikey Moore had a few, but apart from those moments, we weren't able to create diddly squat. And then going the other way, we were just completely open, and we were completely overrun as well. So I think there's not really any positive in terms of the game you can actually take away, which is the most frustrating thing. I think we're all expecting a difficult game, but you're also expecting a little few positives you can take away and something you can cling on to, and unfortunately we just didn't even get that.
No, we didn't. And talking about the chances created and the Mikey Moore, those three chances, they all come in the second half. They all come at 3-0 down as well. So those were the only three shots we actually had in the opposition box throughout the 90 minutes. If you bring on the XG map, from the screen, it's the one with the circles.
Not that one. It's the one with the circles.
This one?
No, the one I posted. I sent you.
This one?
Yeah, that one.
So bring on this. You can see on the left, on the black, is Brentford's XG. And obviously, the bigger the circle, the bigger the XG. And then ours are on the right-hand side in the purple. So we had four shots inside the box. The last one there on the left-hand side, the D, that's Dominic Solanke, I believe.
It was a block
the
shot.
last 5 minutes, block shot. But those three chances there all come from Mikey Moore, and all come in like a quick succession of time as well. Straight after we scored, they scored their third goal. But look at every other shot. Conor Gallagher, Sandro Tonali, block shot over the bar. Nothing. Like, we weren't able to hurt them at all.
Yeah.
At all.
And look at theirs. I mean, and look where they're taking their shots, right on the penalty spot in dangerous areas. Obviously, that really big circle, that really big black circle was the penalty, which they missed. Obviously, we got lucky with that one. But you can see where they're able to access our penalty area, just time again in the most dangerous zone, which is right outside the 6-yard box, obviously. And you're not seeing one or two there. You're seeing, I think, 7, 8 times they're able to get there. Plus, you're getting these little other half chances in and around the 6-yard box from more little difficult angles, but they're also big chances, and a lot of them from set pieces as well. And they were able to try their luck from edge of the box. They probably had more shots outside the box than we did, even though they had times however many from inside the box. So it was just horrendous. And I think, that tells the story of the chances created, doesn't it? Right there in front of you.
Exactly. And, look, second goal, I think, was awful from Kinski. The third goal, I do have a bit more sympathy, because I think it was actually a really good save from Kinski to get down low through. Like, he would have been unsighted as well, because it was through a lot of bodies.
I actually think it was going in, and Senesi blocks it on the line, and he hits it into Kinski, and then it falls to Coyote. I think that's what happened. And I think if Senesi wasn't there to block it, I think it would have gone in.
Maybe, but what I would say about that as well is, like, the defenders around Kinski need to be alert when he parries it.
You watch that goal again, by the way, not Kinski, but the defending again from the set piece. It's laughable. It's absolutely laughable.
You have players in our box not picking up their men. 3 headers Brentford are allowed to have in the box.
First of all, what's laughable is when you look at the start of the set piece. You know who's picking up Igor Thiago?
Was he the header at the back post?
He wasn't, but he was causing chaos in the middle. Do you know who was picking him up?
Who?
Mikey Moore. What are we doing? Why is Mikey Moore picking up Igor Thiago? I watched this back, I analysed it. Then the head of the back post was Collins. Gray is on him.
Yeah, it's like, but Gray's got him. He's marking him, and then he just peels off, and Gray has no clue.
What happened is he peels off Gray, but Gray watches the ball, he watches it go to Collins and doesn't challenge him. You've got to put him off. You've got to get closer to him. He's literally got him and he's close to him. And as soon as the ball just goes a little bit over his head, he's like, okay, I'm going to back off. He's not going to even challenge. And he kind of pussies out of it. But what really should be happening is, even if you're not going to get the ball, you make it uncomfortable for Collins, because what actually happened was Collins sees Sangare completely free, which again, another massive horrendous defending that. No one's even close to Sangare closing him down. Everyone's switched off. Fernandes was guilty of this. Bentancur was guilty of it. Just watching Sangare have all the time and space in the penalty box and have the free shot. But Collins was able to watch the ball come over from the corner, look at Sangare and just nod it back to him. It was a very purposeful header from Collins to find Sangare. If Gray is at least challenging and looking to put him off, maybe the header isn't as simple and isn't as clean. Maybe it makes it difficult. Maybe it doesn't go straight to Sangare. Maybe Sangare is not able to shoot first time like he was able to. Yet, because Collins had a completely free header, nods at Sangare, he shoots first time, and then the chaos ensues. The whole defending was an absolute shambles from that goal as well. And obviously that was right after half-time. You're hoping, make two changes, maybe things can start to swing in your favour, and then it's 2 minutes into the second half, the game's over.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? Because I do think we were better in the second half, albeit we weren't great in the second half. Don't get me wrong, I don't think we put in a good performance or anything, but we were better than we were in the first half. And I think Bentancur and Fernandes did give us a little bit more control in the midfield. Fernandes, I thought, he actually was our best player on the day. Actually able to hurt the opposition, playing forward passes. We looked a lot better in terms of getting the ball up the pitch with Fernandes. And Bentancur, look, I don't think he was great by any stretch of the imagination. I think, he gave away the penalty. He was constantly fouling, didn't win many of his duels. But on the ball, I think he gave us a little bit more control.
Well, I've actually got a graphic which shows a little bit of what the impact Bentancur had. So if you put on the Jules one, it was the Jules one. Yeah, not that one. Next one. Not that one.
Oh, this one.
Yeah. So obviously he came on at half time, Bentancur, and you can see he was second on the whole pitch for Jules competed for anyway. Only won 4 of them. But as you can see, Tonali, Bergvall, and even Fernandes, very, very low when it came to competing with Jules. Look at Brentford's central midfielders. Jensen, Sangare and Janel, all either double figures or very close to double figures in competing for Jules, and also winning a decent amount of them. Bergvall, Tonali, Fernandes really low down and not really competing for too many. And so we were just being overrun. Bentancur comes on and he gets involved in the duels, and that obviously made an impact in us having a bit more of a foothold in the game, I think. But yeah, he obviously that's kind of a big difference. But I think the main thing you can take away from that graphic is their midfield just running all over us and just competing in duels, winning duels, and ours were just very off the pace and not even competing for many, let alone winning.
Yeah, I mean, what was it with Tonali yesterday? Because you expect debut for Tottenham, £100 million signing. You expect him to actually compete for probably one of the most amount of duels on the pitch.
Yeah, and he wasn't. I don't know what, I think a large problem was also he was very spread thin, so it was hard to get close to anyone because he had so many gaps to cover. True. But, still, even with that context, you expect a little bit more from him.
I think with Tonali,
But De Zerbi said he wasn't ready. How? I don't get that. Why isn't he ready?
Makes no sense to me.
He said him, Van Hecke and Senesi all weren't ready. Van Hecke and Senesi, I understand a bit more, only because they've only had 45 minutes together, and they haven't had a great pre-season. But I don't understand Tonali. He's pretty much played every pre-season game, hasn't he? Mm-hmm. And he hasn't gone to the World Cup. Why the hell would he not be ready?
Yeah. I don't know.
Why is he not fit? That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, it's hard to put your finger on it. He should be the most fit out of everyone in the squad right now because of the summer and the preparation that he's had. I do feel like Tonali looked a bit better when he got Fernandes and Bentancur around him. In the second half, I thought he grew a little bit, but still not what you expect to see from a £100 million signing. You mentioned the set pieces, the defending set pieces before, and the aerial duels. It's got to be a major concern going into the season, because we know even before they came to Spurs, Senesi, Van Hecke, Van de Ven, Archie Gray, Pedro Porro, Robertson, basically all of our backline, who is actually strong at aerial duels apart from Kevin Danso?
Romero was our best aerial dueler. He was actually really good, but Van de Ven's never been fantastic. Van Hecke's actually not got a great record. Senesi's not the most physical. It's a massive issue. I also think Kinski, he came for a lot of crosses yesterday, but I don't think his punches were anything great. And a few of them went right up in the air and put us under pressure. And that happened a couple of times in pre-season as well. So that's also, you don't have a massively commanding keeper. I think he's brave, so he does come for crosses, but he's not like massively commanding. He's not gonna, like, if you compare him to like David Raya, like when he comes for a cross, he grabs it. Kinski's not really there yet. Maybe that'll happen down the line, but right now, I don't think he's either physical or just has the commanding of his box just yet. And then Van Hecke and Senesi, they're both big, strong guys, but for whatever reason, when a ball's in the air, they're not favoured for it. I've got a graphic for aerial duels you can bring on it. Yeah, it shows kind of. So Van Hecke and Senesi didn't win the majority of their aerial duels.
Because they actually won second most aerial duels on the pitch.
But first of all, Aya completely dominated like Richarlison.
Yeah.
We weren't doing the same. They were winning. Look, the one thing that stands out to me, Sade in the forward line.
Yeah.
4 wins out of 6.
And I think they were all against Van Hecke.
A lot of them was against Van Hecke. How are you getting bullied by Kevin Sade? Yeah. That is unacceptable. That either it's unacceptable, or because he can do better, or that is a major concern that he's getting bullied by. I know he's not like the smallest winger; he's actually quite tall, but still, you should be dominating him. We've got a big 6'4" centre back who starts for the Dutch national team, and he can't win the majority of his duels against Sade.
Yeah,
that is a concern.
You look at that left hand side of the pitch for Brentford. Lewis Potter-Keane won 2 out of 3 aerial duels. Kevin Sade won 4 out of 6. So they dominated in the air on that side of the pitch, which is Archie Gray and Van Hecke.
And then you look at their centre back, Aya, 6 out of 6, didn't lose a single one to Richarlison.
Yeah, and Richarlison didn't win a single aerial duel.
But I'm saying Richarlison's supposed to be one who we think is not like the best in the air, but he can compete, right? He's someone who you would think you lump it to a number of times, he might win one, but he didn't win a single one, right? And yet Kevin Sade is able to win 4 out of 6 out of our centre backs. Like before the game, would you have said that Sade is better in the air than Richarlison? You wouldn't have said it. It might have been true, but you wouldn't have said it.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, you're looking at that and you're like, is Aya just that much better than Van Hecke in the air? What is going on there?
Yeah, it's embarrassing. Yeah, look, every stat that comes out about the game yesterday, every metric from the eye test to the statistical data, it's all embarrassing. Everything.
By the way, all stats and data that you're seeing on screen is provided by Opta, who we are in partnership for the next few months with them. So big up to them for providing all this data and stats for us. We've got more graphics to show as well in a moment. But yeah, it's massively concerning, some of these numbers, because like that, what you talk about when you look at aerial duels, like, can you put that down to fitness? I don't know. Maybe you can.
Physicality for sure.
Like, how off the pace you have to be losing aerial duels to Kevin Sade? You know what I mean? I don't know. That's not something that tells me you know in a few weeks' time.
Time will tell, won't it? I think for today, for the game yesterday, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. It's the first game coming in, so many problems coming into the game, but it will come to light over the course of the next 5-6 weeks if they're actually up to this kind of side of the game. You know, it's hard to make a sweeping judgment after one game, isn't it?
Yeah, sweeping judgments, yes, but there are concerns there
for sure.
that you can identify that aren't necessarily related to fitness and just being ready. Like that, aerial duels is a very individual thing. It's very, either you win the duel or you're not, either you're up for it or you're not, and he wasn't. And I don't think we can just blame starting 11s or fitness for Sade dominating Van Hecke or whoever in the back line.
I agree with that. Do you think it was an oversight then to play this back line? Should Kevin Danso have even started?
Some people suggested that. I've seen that. Maybe Danso should have come in for this game. I think if we're going to get Van Hecke and Senesi up to speed together, they're going to be playing together some games. Like, I know Van der Ven's obviously captain. He'll be our main centre-back. But we got Senesi to come in as a backup to Van der Ven. We can't just say, oh, well, they can't play together. I mean, that would be ridiculous to have a centre-back partnership. But with that, after one game, we're now saying they can't play together. So we need to get them up to speed. I think there's, a hell of a lot of problems. Maybe Dansko could have played, but do I truly believe in my heart of hearts, if we put Danto in for Van Hecke, the result changes? I don't really know.
The result might not change, but at least you're much more competitive in the air.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, you're probably right.
Well, definitely. I think that's for sure. We're definitely more competitive in the air.
Yeah. But then, not that we were great on the ball anyway, but you probably lose. You're probably even worse on the ball.
I don't know, man. We were terrible on the ball playing at the back yesterday. We really were, particularly Van Hecke. So I don't even know if you would have lost much on the ball anyway, with how shocking we were. I wonder. Look, I just want to put it out there before I say this. I absolutely love De Zerbi, right, and definitely think there's a future here, and I think we're going to end up having a good season. But I just don't like a few of the things he said in the post match. Like, first of all, the thing on Bergvall, like saying like he knew it was a better idea to play Bergvall, but he had
to not play Bergvall.
To not play Bergvall. No, it was a better idea if he would have played Bergvall and Bentancur, but Bergvall was going to struggle in this game. Mm-hmm. So if you know that, why pick Bergvall over Bentancur? It makes no sense to me. We're going to get 3 points. We're going to play a game of football in the Premier League. This ain't a pre-season friendly.
Yeah, it felt like he was treating it like a pre-season game.
You know what I mean? This ain't a pre-season friendly. This is the start of the Premier League. So why the hell, if you know that a certain player is going to struggle and it's going to be better with another certain player, play the one that's going to struggle? It makes no sense to me whatsoever. And I don't buy, look, it's a thing saying like Bergvall, he's staying now and you want to show him kind of, you're going to be part of this team. But this is Premier League football. This ain't, Sunday League football where you go, oh, you know what, I feel bad for you, so you're going to play the game. No, you play the best team that is going to go get the result.
Yeah, and as fans, that's our concern. And obviously, as a manager, he is judged on results. But if he spent the whole of pre-season trying to convince Bergvall he has a future here and he wants him to stay, he's been playing him in pre-season, right? Fernandes isn't quite fit enough at the moment. Well, he's getting there. I know he's played back behind closed doors pre-season, but clearly he's not 100%. Bentancur also arrived late from pre-season as well. He's only had one behind closed doors game in pre-season. So De Zerbi's look at the situation and he's like, I've been in this guy's ear the whole summer. I want you to stay. You're going to be part of my team. And then what message is it send to Bergvall when in his first chance in a competitive game, with two other players who either arrived late from pre-season or on 100%, he drops him immediately and says, you're not going to play. Even though he spent the whole pre-season saying, you do have a future, I believe in you, I trust you, I want you to stay, you're gonna be getting minutes this season. And then his first opportunity, even against two players who maybe aren't 100%, he drops him. What message that sent to Bergvall? That's kind of where De Zerbi's looking, saying, look, I've been convincing him. He trusts me. I've got to trust him now, and I've got to play him. Now, it turned out it was a mistake. But Bergvall, he was hooked at half-time, and he didn't give back the trust De Zerbi showed in him in the game. But I completely get where De Zerbi's coming from. And I understand as well, if Spurs fans want to say, if you knew that he was going to struggle, you shouldn't have started him. But I kind of get where De Zerbi's coming from when it comes to what he's trying to do with Bergvall, because he does believe he's going to be here for the long term and he's going to be here, in 2 years' time or whatever, and he wants to build him up. Then I understand why he gave him the start, but it didn't work.
I don't think that excuse washes for me. You play the best team available to go and win the game, and Bergvall was clearly not that. All the issues that we saw in the Hoffenheim with Bergvall came to light in the game against Brentford, leaving gaping holes in the middle of the park. Yeah, he had a few nice drives, but he was playing to the detriment of the team. The amount of times he lost the ball in crazy areas, a few of the goals and big chances came from him. It was just like, I said it in the preview, like, Bergvall should not be starting this game. Should not be. We needed protection for that back four, a brand new back four playing with each other. And De Zerbi knew that coming into the game. He knew it. So I don't understand why you don't act. You're the manager of the team. So you've got to be playing the best players available to go and get the points. It doesn't matter for me what he's been saying to Bergvall in pre-season. Bergvall's still got to earn his role and earn his place in the team, and I don't think he's done that.
He's got to be
just
given
yet.
the chance to do it.
Yeah, fine, but you don't give him the chance against Charlton then. Don't give him the chance against Brentford where you know it's not going to work.
Yeah, I get that. And I think, yeah, it's a good point. In terms of Bergvall, there's a few little graphics, I think, which exemplify kind of the difference and the struggles he had yesterday. If you look at the one where it has bunch of number 15s, so that's Bergvall yesterday. These are like the touches and some dribbles that he was able to make yesterday. The direction of play is left to right on this one. So as you can see, he was really struggling to get the ball in the middle of the park there. Mm-hmm. Like very few touches, not able to get on the ball. He was a couple touches like in the final third, but again, he was really kind of on the periphery on the ball. Had a couple of dribbles, but was kind of on the periphery. And obviously we saw he lost the ball. As you can see, the one near our own penalty box, he lost the ball in a really dangerous area, and that was obviously cost us a goal, and that was obviously really bad. But you can see the difference between him. So this is him, and then you bring on Bentancur. Bring on Fernandes. Okay, Bentancur. Okay. There, they bring on Fernandes, yeah. And look how much he's able to get on the ball in the middle. And look how much he's been able to touch. Get on Bentancur. Look how much he's been able to get on the ball in the middle of the park and keep the ball. It's just night and day. It's completely different.
Yeah. And that's, what I said at the beginning of the stream, like when Fernandes and Bentancur were in the middle in the second half, we had a little bit more of an element of control. I mean, we had no element of control when Bergvall was alongside Tonali. So I think it will just call for a specific game, maybe for Bergvall to start games. I do think he's a good player, and I do think he will be a good player for us. I have a lot of time for Bergvall, and I rate him highly, but he's not at the level of our other midfielders as just yet. He's just not.
Yeah, we all know that his development was really hampered for whatever reason last season. Thomas Frank or whatever you want to put a blame on. Whenever he performed last season, he'd taken a lot of steps backwards, it felt. And he didn't play too much under De Zerbi at the back end of last season. He started the first game and then was immediately dropped and for more experienced players. But one thing I thought was very interesting that De Zerbi said in his press conference was, he said, now it's a new season, we're trying to do a different thing. So I think what he's compared to last season. So what I think he means by that is last season, we were in the shit, right? We were down in the dumps. The confidence couldn't get any lower. We just needed experienced heads. We just needed those players to get us over the line because Gray and Bergvall were not going to drag us to safety. Yeah. They're exciting players, they're young players, but they're not going to drag us to safety, right? They're going to sync with everyone else. So we just need people who know how to play in this league, who know what it takes to win games. But now it's a new season, it's fresh, everything's different, we're challenging for something different, we're going in a different direction. Now we can bring in these exciting players, now we can bring in these other younger players when the pressure's not as much on us now. Yeah. To get results to stay up and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's what he's thinking about when it comes to Graham Bergvall. We're going to start to see them integrated a bit more, and it's not just about last season. We just need to survive, and that's why he brought them in. Now it's a different phase.
Yeah, look, he's trying to build something now. He's trying to build a style of play. He's trying to build a different way of thinking. Last year we know it wasn't De Zerbi ball in the way that he wants to see it. We know he said it a million times about, I'm not giving them too much instruction. I'm just going to give some strong fundamentals of how we can go and survive the Premier League. And he did that. And now it pretty much is like having a new manager from the start of the season, isn't it? Because it's going to be so many different fundamentals from the last 7 games going into this new season.
And I think that's my point when it comes to we're very harshly judging Bergvall, Gray, Tell for this game. But it's, you've got to give them a bit of time. He hasn't played too much under De Zerbi. I know he's got thrown under the deep end and he sank yesterday, but that doesn't mean, over the course of the season that's always going to be the case, and he's not going to get up to speed with De Zerbi's what he wants and what he needs from the team. And De Zerbi look, he put him on the pitch. He now understands what's going wrong with him, what he needs to improve on. Maybe he's doing things in training which he's not doing on the pitch,
But
which
saw
is
the
why he
same thing
started.
against Hoffenheim a week ago. It was exactly the
Understand
same.
that.
Even worse, actually.
Understand that, but we still won the game, and he was a lot better against Hoffenheim than he was. Obviously playing against a not as good team, but still he was doing a lot of more better things than he was doing yesterday. So I think everyone's a lot of the reaction to yesterday with Bergvall was, oh, you have to sell him. I can't believe we rejected 45 million. We need to get him gone.
I
He's
disagree
rubbish.
with that.
Like, I think we all need to calm down. Like, it's very early on in his Tottenham career, in his De Zerbi career. There's a lot of players that we judge without having seen them have a proper go under this manager. And we need to just give that a bit of time.
And look, we all said it's going to be a slow burner coming into this season. We didn't expect a 3-0 damaging defeat on the first day of the season. But that's what's come to pass, and we need to be better. And it will get better because you're looking at the starting lineup yesterday. Kinski, he's going to be our number one. Gray is not going to be our starting right back. Van Hecker will be our starting right centre back. Senesi, it's probably going to be Van de Ven at left centre back. Robertson, which I actually want to speak about in a minute, he'll probably be our starting left back, whether him or Doggy, it's one of the two. Tonali will be there. Bergvall won't be our starting player. It'll be Mateus Fernandes. Gallagher, I don't think the plan is for him to be the starting 10. It's just about how quickly James Maddison comes up to speed. Mikey Moore is going to be out on loan. Matties Tell is going to be a rotation option. And Richarlison probably won't be at the club as well. So when you're looking at that team, there is so many players that are just not going to be starting 11 for us. So I think when you're judging the game yesterday, it's important to remember that. And it's important to remember that there is so much change going on, and there's still so much more change to be implemented into this team. But again, De Zerbi, I think the preparation should have been better going into this season. And I get it, like a few things were out of his hands about the injured players and the players that he was like just trying to not integrate too quickly because of their injury problems and everything like that. That was out of his control.
And he had a bit of a rant in the press conference about the pre-season tour. Wasn't happy about that.
Yeah, like that was a disgrace in World Cup year. And how's Van de Ven getting injured on a plane? You know what I mean? Like, how's that even happening?
Oh, whatever he's blaming on. Is it jet lag? I don't know what it is, but he says he's got a little problem where he goes, I don't know if it was the flight or what, but he's kind of implying the flight time didn't help Van de Ven's recovery. I don't know what's going on with him. The whole thing is really weird. But taking this team out to New Zealand or Australia off the back of a World Cup year is just it's not going to help their preparation. It's just ridiculous.
But we'll see if it's an excuse or not, because Chelsea were also out in Australia and New Zealand. They played today. Let's see if they get absolutely battered. I don't know if they will do. So maybe it is just an excuse.
But they're also playing a team also, new manager and everything.
Yeah, it's different circumstances. We're playing a much more settled team, and the G-Techs have
probably a better team.
At the best of the time. Who have Chelsea even got today?
Fulham tomorrow.
Fulham tomorrow, and they've got a bit of extra preparation as well with the 2 days. But look, there were a couple of positives yesterday. Fernandes, obviously, we spoke about. He was one of them. Robertson, I thought, had a competent display yesterday. I think he was also part of a terrible backline, but if anything was going to happen, it was always going to come down that left-hand side. I think Robertson and Tell, particularly that cross that Robertson put in for Mikey Moore, that was the biggest amount of quality that we saw all day.
If he's in a Liverpool shirt, it's a goal. 9 times out of 10, that's a goal, and he's got an assist to his name. I also think the second goal, he didn't cover himself in much glory, but there was a number of times that they nearly scored, and if it was for Robertson,
he made one brilliant header in our own box that forced the corner.
And there was a moment where they played a through ball, I think it was to Utara, and he did this brilliant sliding challenge, and he got wrong side of him. I thought defensively we didn't have anywhere near as problems on his side as we did on Gray and Moore's
I agree
side.
with that. I would say that Utara did run him ragged a little bit at times.
I don't think he did. I think he had him under control most of the game.
I'm not sure. I think it was a battle between them two. Robertson came out on top sometimes. Utara came out on top a few times as well.
I also think he had more help from Tell than Gray did.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure.
That side that we were just getting destroyed. Sade was cooking Gray, and Mikey Moore was basically leaving him out to dry with Lewis Potter. Lewis Potter, I'd said that in the preview. That is one area I'm kind of worried. And funnily enough, I said two things. I said Moore could get a Lewis Potter, which he did because he had those 3 chances. And I said, but that could be one of their biggest strengths because I don't know if Moore's going to be tracking Potter back all the way. And then he scores the opening goal. He has cross after cross to create all those chances. He was arguably their biggest threat, Lewis Potter. He was causing us problems all day, and Moore just either he couldn't hack it, he couldn't track him back, or whatever. He was told not to, or whatever. But that was a big problem.
Not to. Like I think De Zerbi would have seen how, how isolated Archie Gray was at right back and getting cooked and cooked and cooked. I doubt he would have said to Moore, "Don't go and help him out." I find that hard to believe. But look, it was just an absolute shit show yesterday. What can we say? Like, there'll be more players in for the Newcastle game next week. Let's hope we'll see a bit more cohesion. Let's hope we see, a bit more of a solid back line. We need Mickey van der Ven in that back line. We really do, because there's just not enough pace in that back line. And whenever Van Hecker was stepping forward, so much space in behind him, like, there was no recovery. No recovery.
We've spoken a lot about the back line, obviously, because those are players are probably going to play a lot this season. In terms of forward line, we don't really want to. Obviously, Moore's, as you said, Moore's probably going to go. Richarlison's probably going to go. So it's no bother judging them because it doesn't really matter. But Gallagher, I want to talk about Gallagher because he's in the 10. He's playing in the 10. He's probably going to be playing in the 10 for the next 2 months, you would assume, around that. I mean, obviously, Maddison was getting sharper and sharper, so let's hope he's back as soon as possible. But for the foreseeable, it's probably going to be Gallagher until we get news otherwise. So I want to show his pass map. You go to the one where this is with purple arrows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, again, direction is left to right. So that's actually him playing it backwards, not forwards, the ones on the left.
And that's our 10.
That is our 10. This is the pass map of the player who is currently playing number 10 for Tottenham Hotspur. He's been tasked with creating chances, scoring goals, doing all those things, and that is his pass map. And also, what you notice is no passes to tell, maybe one there, didn't pass to him at all, no linkage with the centre mids. Those 3 passes, by the way, you can see backwards. One of them is to 2 of them are to Kinski. So he's pretty much playing more passes to our own goalkeeper than he is linking with our central midfielders.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I can stomach too much more of him in that position, honestly, if he's going to perform like that.
You're going to have to, because we've got no one else. Look,
I think that was also a big problem with why Tell didn't have as good a game as he could have, because I felt like a lot of people pointed out yesterday, every time he got the ball, he was doubled up on. And unless he had support from Robbo, he was kind of struggling to get any joy. But Gallagher was not coming over to help. He was just isolated. There was no support for him. Yeah. And I thought the times where he was getting help and then he could isolate Coyote and take him on, he was actually doing all right. He completed more dribbles than our whole team combined yesterday at times, Tell. And I thought there were moments where he was looking bright. But more often than not, he was getting no help. And I think Gallagher was the big one where he was getting no help from.
Yeah, look, I don't know what Gallagher offers this team. I've said this since last season. Like, what does he, apart from running around like a madman and being able to press and sometimes being able to force an opportunity that way, and you'll see that as over the course of the season, what else does he offer us? Because I can't think of anything.
Yeah, I'm really struggling. And I can't believe we were saying when he signed in January, this guy's going to be our best midfielder.
Yeah.
I mean, I can really see why Atletico binned him off. I'm really starting to see that now. I can see why Chelsea were willing to accept a good offer. I'm really struggling with Gallagher. Look, it is still early in the season.
How
and
can you
early
have a
under
10
Deserbi.
with no technical ability?
A 10 who won't pass, who can't pass. I mean, it's just so hard to watch. It is so hard on the eyes. It really is. Look, to be fair to him, he has got Richarlison in front of him who doesn't hold the ball, so he can't really get the ball off him. He's got Moore to his right, who's wasn't able to get on the ball. He's got Tell to his left, who isn't going to be our starting winger, although I thought he did all right. He had Bergvall behind him, who wasn't able to get on the ball as much. So maybe if Gallagher stayed on, I'm not saying he should have, but maybe if he did stay on in that second half when we had Fernandes and Bentancur there, and maybe if he's got better players around him, you might see a bit of a better player. But he should be one of the ones who's starting games for us regularly. He didn't have also a pre-season. He didn't have a World Cup. So he should be fresh. He should be one of the ones that should have been a shining light in this game. But he was one of the worst ones as well.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard for us to sell him, even if we wanted to, with the wages that he's on. Yeah, look, I'm not a massive fan of Gallagher. I like his passion. I like his work rate. But I think he's so technically poor. And in a De Zerbi team, particularly in the forward line, you need technically gifted players. And he's just not that. So, and you're looking at the midfield, there are so many players ahead of him in terms of the 8 and the 6. So I don't know where he fits into this team. I really don't. But look, that is the shit show that was yesterday. 3-0 to Brentford. I promise you guys it will get better. I'm certain of it. It will get better. You know, Brentford absolutely smashed up Arsenal on the first game of the season, their first year in the Premier League. They ended up finishing 5th. And I think that was the year they missed out on 4th because we beat them 3-0 under Conte. So first game of the season is not a barometer of how you're going to be this season.
This is very reminiscent of Erik Ten Hag's first game for Man United. I remember that season they ended up, I think, finishing 3rd and winning the Carabao. But that first game, I remember they went to the G-Tech and got battered 4-0 by Brentford. And they got bullied. I remember Lisandro Martinez got completely bullied.
I hope you're not saying we're going to turn into Man United's Erik Ten Hag.
What I'm saying, would you take 3rd in the Carabao right now?
Yes, I would take that league position and I'll take that trophy 100%.
That's what happened that season.
But I don't want to be Man United's Erik Ten Hag.
I'm just saying that's what happened that season. They got battered and then they ended up finishing 3rd and winning the Carabao. But that first game, they were completely all over the place. And I remember Lisandro had an awful game. I remember Carragher was saying after the game, this centre-back won't work in this Prem. He's too short. He's going to be bullied. And he ended up having, being all right.
He's only played about 5 games since then.
Yeah, but he ended up being not bad in terms of when he plays. So there's a lot of things that can happen that can go wrong for us. That has. But there's no need to
you can't make any sweeping judgments after one game. And not only is that in one game, and it's one game where a lot of players are not at peak fitness, and it's one game where it's just not our first choice team.
Look, I think we all knew this was going to happen, the reaction in terms of after losing, Tottenham spent all this money, they're still shit, relegation battle again. Yeah. But I don't think it's going to be reality. That's what I still think.
Yeah. So onwards and upwards, people. Onwards and upwards. I still firmly convinced that we are going to have a good season. Let's get into a couple of super chats just before we move on to player ratings. And if you want to rate the players, do click the link in the comment section, as we'll be reacting to them in just a moment. And also the stats were brought to you by Opta. So Stephen Nichols says, I truly believe a lot of the trouble with fitness was the club's planning for pre-season. What's wrong with just staying in this country? Plan better. Not even just staying in this country, just stay in Europe. You know what I mean? Just don't send them on a 24-hour flight.
And also, we go over to Australia and New Zealand to play awful teams. So we can't even learn anything really from the games. Whereas I'm looking at who Arsenal are playing, I'm looking at who United and Liverpool are playing. They're playing good level oppositions. So I feel like, I know we did play Chelsea, but that was like a half-cooked Chelsea anyway. So I just feel like if we're going to do this trip, at least make it worth our while in terms of the opposition we're going to play. But we didn't even do that. So it's it just feels completely wasted. I'm sure they made a shitload of money, but it's not going to help us get points.
Yeah, but you know what? It was also like these behind closed doors friendlies. Like, what did they actually give to the team? Like, these behind closed doors friendlies, they were so low intensity. They were basically training routines. They weren't pre-season friendlies in my eyes.
That's what it felt like.
So even that, I felt like the preparation going into the season was all off. Like, why don't you just put those games in the stadium, make a bit of money off the back of it, and have a bit more intensity in the game? Like, it didn't make sense to me.
I think the second one, that's just basically just to get the players in play minutes. But the first one, I think why not put that in the stadium?
Like, Getafe should have been in the stadium. Go away to MK Dons at least. Give them a little bit of money. Like, why play these behind closed doors friendlies?
I don't know.
Southeast Coys says, any academy players who are natural right backs, we need to start developing our academy. Moore is our most developed and we saw how that went. Gray needs to play in his natural position, and Porro needs backup. Yeah, look, everyone's making a thing about the academy, and look, I get it, and there should be a pathway and should be giving chances to some of the academy players. But people are going in on Archie Gray, Matthews Tell, Lucas Bergvall about them being too young and we should prioritise those minutes for our academy players. But they're better than what we've got in our academy. Mm-hmm. They're much better than what we got in our academy. So I don't know what people are smoking on that front.
Yeah, I don't know what people want. People say pay your best players and then all of a sudden get the academy players in. I feel like there's a contradiction there.
Like who in the midfield in our academy would people have wanted to play instead of Bergvall yesterday?
And would people be happy if Ty Hall started a right back yesterday or Rio? I know Rio's injured, but like if they played and got cooked, everyone would be shouting the same thing.
Mao says a striker we need is Zian Fleming. I actually like Zian Fleming. Has he not signed for somewhere now?
I think he's there's a Prem team who's going to bid for him. I can't remember who it was. So I think he will be moving.
All right, let's get into it. Where are we getting into? Player ratings. So let's start off with Antonin Kinski. 4s all round from us, 4.2 from you guys, so just a bit above what we've rated. Yeah, look, shocking for the second goal. Parries it completely to the nearest Brentford player. I thought his playing out the back seemed a bit off to what it usually is. I remember one or two just going completely out of play, which is very uncharacteristic of Antonin Kinski. Not commanding enough his own box. And the third goal, I thought, look, you say it came off one of our players and hits Kinski, but I need to look at it again, but I thought it was a decent save. And it parries straight to a Brentford player, but I thought our defenders should have been doing better to follow up. But yeah, not the greatest day at the office for Antonin Kinski.
Yeah, I mean, considering we've given him all this confidence to be our number one, to have that on game week 1, where like immediately he's showing some flaws after 7 great games last year and a great preseason as well. It's got to be concerning, but I'm not going to judge him too harshly on this one game, but definitely the second goal was a howler, like absolute howler. If that was Vicario, we'd all be letting into him. It was a horrible mistake.
Kinski, we're still laying into him.
It was a horrible mistake. He definitely lost the ball more than he does. He did have some really good passes as well. I remember there's a few times like he was able to find Robertson and I think one from Tell as well. He was definitely asked to play the ball longer in this game, for sure. He actually played as many long balls in this game as Kelleher. So I think that shows that. But yeah, I just thought his handling, he just didn't seem great. I mean, I don't remember too many saves he actually had to make because I think a lot of their shots were off target, but it wasn't a great showing from Kinski.
Yeah, he'll bounce back. I'm pretty certain of it. Next up is Archie Gray. Sim gives him a 2. I gave him a 3. Didn't look at the races at all. You mentioned before that he didn't get too much help from Mikey Moore, and he was completely isolated against Sharda and Lewis Potter-Keem, and they ran him ragged. They ran him completely ragged. The third goal, I think it's really poor defending for the corner because he's got that man at the back post. He peels away and he doesn't even know about it. And yeah, I just thought, I can't remember too many positive things I can think about with Archie Gray. He makes history, captain on the day. And by the way,
that is being called into question.
It should be called into question, in my opinion, because you got a 20-year-old where some people at the beginning of the season are like, this guy should be going out on loan even, and he's one of the captains of the football club. And when I saw his name, when De Zerbi said he's part of the captain's list, it did seem a bit strange. I know he's been captain in pre-season and everything like that, but I don't think he should be one of the captains of the team. I think it's a bit over the top.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about this since the game finished and everything. And obviously, when he gets announced as captain, and when he's been captain in pre-season, and we all know he's like a player that all the coaches rate, and he's quite mature for his age, and everyone sees him as a future kind of leader. So I kind of understand, and also, with all the signings we're making, De Zerbi wants him to feel like you are important and he's got the trust of him. But giving him the actual captaincy on a Premier League game, when you've got Robbo there, you've got Gallagher there, who's a leader as well. You got Van Hecke, who's starting games for the Dutch team. You got Senesi, who's one of the leaders in the. I don't know.
Tonali.
He must have captained the Bournemouth team a few times. You got Tonali there, who's one of the leaders. Like, are they all really going to be quiet and listen to Archie Gray, who's, let's be brutally honest, has barely won a Premier League game? It's true,
right.
isn't it?
It's true.
He has barely actually won a game in a Tottenham shirt. Like, so what kind of, like, are they actually, like, is he really going to be riling them up and getting more out of them? Like, is he going to be the one they all listen to?
He's a kid.
He's a kid.
He's a kid. Like, you can't have him as one of the captains of the club. Like, it's a joke, really, when you think about it.
It is a bit of a joke.
I don't know any other team in the Premier League that has someone of Archie Gray's stature in the squad as one of the captains of their football club.
But what does he actually know about leading a team?
Nothing.
And leading a successful team? Or a team to victory? What does he know about that?
Archie Gray should not be anywhere near the captaincy of this football club. The more I think about it, the more crazy it is.
Yeah, it is. You got to question that decision. Look, maybe it's just, obviously we know he's fifth choice. So he's, like, in normal circumstances, you've got Van der Ven, you've got Porro, and you've got
But he shouldn't even
Davis
be fifth choice.
and Maddison all ahead of him. So maybe it's kind of more of a ceremonial kind of thing rather than, okay, you're actually the captain. But as fans, we can only see who has the armband on, and then we have to take that at face value. And when, like, I just don't see, like, Robertson actually sitting down and listening to what Gray has to say. You know what I mean? Not to say that he doesn't like him or doesn't think he's a good player or even respect him, but he's not gonna listen to Gray and be like, you're right, like, yeah, you're gonna get us up for this.
For me, you got to earn it. You got to earn the captaincy, and he's been a good young player for us. He's filled in plenty of positions. I rate him as a player. I think he's got a big future ahead of him, but he's not done anywhere near enough in the game as of yet to warrant being a captain.
Yeah, I don't mind him. Like, in a weird way, I don't mind him being in the leadership group, like, to have a voice for who represents maybe the younger players and, like, has their ear and he can kind of give what they're saying in that sense. So I don't mind him being in the room, if you know what I mean. But him actually leading out the team in a Premier League game, that doesn't sit right with me.
I don't even understand him being even in the room in part of the leadership group.
Because I'm saying, because there's a lot of younger players and maybe he can represent them in the room.
Yeah, but it's up to the older players to lean those young. Why do the young players need a representative in the leadership?
Because they have
group?
a voice, they're people.
Yeah, but they're people that will get led by the more experienced players in the group.
Yeah, but sometimes there's a gap.
Maybe
There's a
another
gap
club
between
that
generations.
I don't know. Kid.
I don't know the leadership groups of the other clubs. I can't tell.
Yeah,
you.
but it's just not a thing like having a representative of the younger players, the representative of the team. They're all a team
But
together.
they're different generations. Sometimes someone from a different generation can see things differently. So I think it is good to have someone there that can tell you where they're coming from if there's a disagreement or whatever. I think it's a good thing that he's part of those conversations.
Ridiculous.
I don't think that's ridiculous. But I think him actually leading out the team, I think that is a bit of a joke.
Anyway, let's move on.
And in terms of him yesterday, just quickly, he got absolutely cooked, and he was horrible. I thought the second goal and the third goal, he was really horrible. Sorry, the first goal and the third goal, he was really horrible in both those games, both those moments. If he's going to be our backup right back playing like that, then we're in trouble. But again, let's hope down the line it's under different circumstances.
Jan Paul Van Hecke, debut for Spurs. Sim gives him a 2. I gave him a 3. Weak on and off the ball. Off the ball, I mean, he was an absolute joke, to be honest. Aerially, on the floor. When he was stepping out, he was leaving gaps in behind him that he wasn't able to recover. His on-the-ball passing ability, I thought, was poor, weak. I was expecting so much more from Van Hecke, and he's got a lot of improving to do. He needs to get to grips with things very quickly.
Yeah, it was not a good debut. Has had a pretty solid pre-season, but this game was a concern. The way he got beaten in the air by Kevin Sade, of all players, is a worry. Like, he shouldn't be getting bullied by a Brentford winger. That shouldn't be acceptable for him. He's supposed to be our big, strong centre back who's 6'4", he's tall. You can't be getting bullied in the air. Igor Thiago, I understand, is a bit more different, but even him, he should be beating him more often than not. He shouldn't be getting bullied, so that's a problem. He looked slow. His passing wasn't as good as it was in pre-season. I think, we know he's a good passer, so I'm not too worried about that. But I think what's been called into question previously has been his defending. It has been those elements, and he didn't alleviate any of those fears yesterday. So a lot to improve on.
Yeah. Next up, Senesi, who I thought was better than Van Hecke. We both give him a 5. You guys have given him a 4.5. I think he was a lot better on the ball than Van Hecke. You really saw that passing ability come to light. I thought he was making a number of really important clearances and blocks with inside our box. I think he looked a lot more competent and a lot more ready to be on that pitch than Van Hecke, and that doesn't really make sense to me because Marco Senesi, okay, he didn't play too much, but he was in the World Cup to the latter stages and he would have a shorter pre-season than Van Hecke did. So I like what I saw from Senesi. Look, he wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination, and I still think, in behind he was getting caused problems and a couple of really bad kind of mistakes of tracking players in the goal that we conceded. So, and he probably should have reacted a bit better from one of Kinski's parries, the third one. So, look, it wasn't all good, but I felt that he was a lot more competent than Van Hecke.
Yeah, I don't think he was bullied as much. I think he was winning a lot more duels than Van Hecke was. I didn't like him for the first goal. You watch it back, he's kind of in no man's land, not marking anyone, not blocking the cross either. So, pretty much doing nothing. Second goal, I didn't really like. He was on his heels as well when Kinski spilled it, just allowing Janelt to tap it home. Third one, I got a bit more sympathy because I actually think he blocks it, and if he doesn't block it, it goes in. So, not really his fault, but he blocked it, hit Kinski. The shot had a lot of power and then ended up falling to Cody anyway, and he scored. So, it's not, he blocked it, but it still meant a goal. I think his partnership with Van Hecke is going to need a lot of work. And the problem is, going into this season, everyone's like, they're great on the ball, but both of them have problems with defending, and them together, could be bad. And on first showing, it is bad right now, but let's hope it won't be bad for too long.
Yeah, it's a debate we had, isn't it? Coming into when we signed both of them. I said I don't think these guys should be matched up with each other because they're too slow. You need one at least that has a bit of pace, and I think my fears came to light in this game, that's for sure. Next up is Andy Robertson. Again, 5s all round. You guys give him a 4.4. One of our biggest attacking outlets, albeit we didn't have much of an attacking outlet, but he was one of the biggest ones. Brilliant ball for Mikey Moore at the back stick, where Mikey Moore's got a score. Yeah, I thought in terms of the back line, we were much stronger on the left-hand side than we were on the right-hand side, and Andy Robertson was definitely a part of that. One really important header in the first half, which definitely could have been a goal for Brentford, so he helped us in that aspect. I thought he had a tough time against Utara, in my opinion. He came out on top a couple of times, but also Utara did cook him a couple of times as well. So up and down from that aspect. But a lot better than Archie Gray was on the right-hand side, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't think it was bad from Robbo. I'm saying this to a lot of players. I didn't like him for the first goal. He got caught on his heels by Sangare, who got in behind him, and he wasn't able to catch up with him, and obviously laid it on a play for Lewis Potter goal. I think defensively, I actually thought he was one of our better players, funnily enough, on the day. And I think a few times, if it wasn't for him, we would have conceded a couple more goals, actually, if it wasn't for his interventions. Going forwards, he actually was allowed to whip in quite a few crosses. A few times he was aiming for Mikey Moore, which, obviously one of them he should have got an assist, but a few times in the first half he was aiming it in the air to Moore, and obviously Moore was never going to win any of these aerial duels. We know that, and Richarlison clearly was just not feeling it yesterday, so he wasn't winning anything. So he was kind of on a hiding to nothing from that. But on another day, he really should have had an assist. Moore should be bearing it. He should have had an assist to his name. I don't think it was bad from Robbo overall.
Next up is Sandro Tonali, big £100 million signing from Newcastle. 4s all round for Tonali. You guys give him a 4.3. He wasn't really... Look, first half was really bad from him. I don't think he was physical enough, wasn't imposing himself enough. Our midfield was getting run ragged, and look, I think he was trying to cover a couple of spaces with Bergvall just going missing a lot of the time. But I just expected a lot more from Tonali. I did think it improved in the second half a little bit when he got more cover around him with Bentancur and Mateus Fernandes. But still, as debuts go, it's not going to go up there with one of the best, is it?
No. He was also short quality. There was that one moment that really sticks out where he's driven the ball forward. He like cut inside from about 25 yards. He tries to play this square pass, and no one's even there. And Brentford just go on a counter attack and just put us under pressure. And that was like, God, what is he doing at that moment? I think he looked better when he had Bentancur or Fernandes around him. I think he did struggle with Bergvall next to him.
Next up is Lucas Bergvall. 2 from Sim, a 3 from me. I told you he should never have started, and in hindsight, that's definitely true as well. 2.6 from you guys. I'm not sure why I've given him a mark-up, but maybe I'm just feeling a bit... don't want to go too hard on him after the first game of the season, I guess. But, yeah, I mean, he just left us with a gaping hole in the field. He was running us into trouble. In the first 5 minutes of the game, he tries to dribble out from our box and loses the ball, and it ends up in a big chance for Brentford, and they header just wide. And that was kind of a sign of things to come, because things like that were just happening throughout the game. To be honest, he just didn't look anywhere near at the levels we needed to face, a really ready Brentford side. So, yeah, really poor showing, and he got hauled off at half-time, and quite rightly so.
Yeah, he was a headless chicken yesterday. There's no doubt about it. Like we have seen. He struggled badly. He was putting us into trouble on the ball, off the ball. Again, first goal, he just let Sangare run off him, and he just didn't do anything about it. The second goal, he gives the ball away on the edge of the box to Jensen when he's trying a silly little ball roll, which just doesn't need to try that. And it was really bad. He wasn't covering the spaces we needed him to cover. It was a very bad performance from Bergvall. There was a couple of moments he drove into the space, quite brightly, and there was a moment as well. He was part of that move, which him and Gallagher and I think Richarlison all put a couple passes together, and Bergvall found himself in the box, and he tried to square it for Gallagher, but couldn't find him. So that was a nice moment, but it was way outweighed by the negative moments.
Mikey Moore. Up next, 3s from us, 3.3 from you guys. In the first half, completely non-existent. I think he had 4 touches or something in the first half.
He really struggled.
Which was mad. He just could not get himself involved in the game. Didn't do enough to come back and help Archie Gray, who was really struggling. In the second half, after we went 3-0 down, he had 3 really presentable chances. The first 2, just really poor efforts, the easiest saves that Kelleher's going to have to make all season. The third one, he actually forced Kelleher into a save, so I give him a bit more credit for that one, but at least one of them he's got to be put in the back of the net, at least. So, look, I give him credit for being there and actually, having our 3 best chances of the game, but you've got to put it away at this level. You've got to put it away. So, look, he's got a lot of learning to do. He's got a lot of developing to do. And I think if that performance is anything to go by, I think the loan is the right move.
Yeah, agreed. I think physically he's still struggling. He did get, as you say, a few moments to get away from Lewis Potter. What I would say is the first 2 chances, they were kind of put on a plate for him, and the finish was so weak on both of them. It was really frustrating. The second one, what I would say is I actually really liked his first touch. He was, I think... Was it Fernandes who played it through to him? It was a really nice ball, but he just takes this really good touch to cut across Keane Lewis Potter, which means any touch from him and it's a penalty. So it was really clever from him. He got himself in a really good position, and the strike was decent, but it wasn't good enough to beat Kelleher. So I really liked his movement there and his touch in front of goal. But the first 2 chances it looked like an academy player, those 2 shots.
Yeah. All right, next up is Conor Gallagher. Sim gives him a 2. I gave him a 3.
Theme here.
Yeah, 2.7 from you guys out there. Yeah, ran around like a headless chicken. Absolutely contributed nothing to us going forward. Sideways, backwards, everywhere we go once again. No impact at all.
Yeah, and he had one moment to actually do something. He has Tell and Moore in support. We've actually got an attack on, and he decided to shoot it from 30 yards over the bar. Like, what are you doing, Connor?
It was 0-0. No, it was 1-0. No, it was 2-0 at that stage, but it could have got us back in the game.
Yeah, it could have been something. He was just horrendous. He's just so horrendous. He's such a... What I don't like about Connor is the way he plays football is just so ugly. He's just not a nice player to watch. And that is just something which I'm struggling to get on board with him. I think... If he was a bit silky, or he had some nice moves, or he had crisp passing or something to cling on to, maybe I could be the way he plays can be a bit more palatable. But he's just so clunky and so hard to watch, and he's supposed to be our number 10. And yeah, it's not great.
Matty's Tell, you gave him a 5, I gave him a 4. In the first half, I thought he was really struggling to create anything. You know, I thought Coyote, did a good job on him, and Tell was struggling to take it past him, or even attempting to take it past him. There are a couple of nice moves that he was involved in, but in the first half, I thought he really struggled. Second half, I thought he looked a bit better with a bit of better link-up play with Andy Robertson. And let's be real, if anything was going to happen, it was going to happen down that left-hand side with Robertson and Matty's Tell. So I thought he was better than our other attacking players, but still, I don't think it was that great.
I think we looked our most dangerous when him and Robertson were linking, definitely. I think the second half, he was a lot more livelier. He was getting into really good spaces. He linked up with Robbo quite well. I think if he had better players around him, you would see a lot more from him. I think he really struggled to do a lot by himself. I think he was getting no support from Gallagher whatsoever. I did think in the first half, though, like a lot of the team, he was really struggling to get involved. I did think, though, he was a lot more helpful to Robertson defensively than the other side. So I give him credit for that. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was, unfortunately, the continuation from pre-season that we had hoped, but I don't think he was as bad as the other players.
Richarlison. Yeah, you guessed it. Sim gives him a 2. I gave him a 3. 2.4.
To be honest, I think he was generous. I think I was generous.
Yeah, you probably were generous, to be fair. Look, we're not going to see him in a Spurs shirt again, but in this game alone, what did he do? Apart from lose aerial duels, what did he actually do? Nothing.
Yeah, and he was so weak for that second goal. So weak to lose the ball. Every time the ball got played to him, he lost the duel, and didn't just lose it, he lost it very easily, and didn't even make it difficult for the opposition. It was really hard to watch from Rishi. There was I don't think he had a shot or even got near goal. I think he spent more time on the floor than he did with the ball at his feet, as per usual. Yes, it was a horrible day for Rishi, horrible day.
Subs bench, James Maddison came on with 20 minutes to go. Sim gives him a 5, I gave him a 4, 4.1 from you guys. I think he looked sharper than what we saw last week in the behind closed doors friendly, but I don't think we saw too many quality moments from James Maddison. It was just nice to see him on the pitch and nice to see him look a bit sharper than what we saw last week.
Yeah, I mean, there was a few stats to kind of just tell a little bit of a story of what a difference he made. Like, how long did he come on for?
20 minutes.
20 minutes, and he had more touches in the opposition box than anyone apart from Mikey Moore for Tottenham.
Wow.
So I think that tells you, like, even though he's not fully fit, even though he's not his best, just his movement, his IQ just gets him more involved than a lot of our other players.
So basically what we're saying is a Maddison who's just returned from an ACL and another injury is more impactful than a Conor Gallagher that's had a full pre-season and had no injuries.
Correct. And I think the positions he was taking up and the little things he was able to do made a small difference, and it just asked different questions of Brentford. They forced tackle him in different positions, opened up a few spaces, but yeah, he's still clearly not at his sharpest. But I'm happy to see him getting a little bit sharper from last week.
Destiny Udogi came on. I mean, he just came on in the last few minutes of the game, so I just gave him a 5. You guys giving him a 4.2. Hard to make any sweeping judgments, really. He didn't really have much time on the pitch.
Yeah, but he looked all right, I thought. He looked quick, got to the byline a couple times. So I thought he made a little small impact, but yeah, he didn't have a lot of time.
Mateus Fernandez, 6 all round for Mateus. You guys give him a 5.5. Spurs' his best player on the day. He came on in a bit more an advanced role, and I think he was making a real impact in off the ball and on the ball. In terms of what we saw in the middle of the park, he was one that was able to get it on the ball and actually play it forward. we didn't see that from pretty much any midfielder. So I love that from Mateus, and I think off the ball as well, he was able to help us regain somewhat a little bit of control in the middle of the park. So I like what I saw from Mateus.
Yeah, I think he just so much more controlled, so much classier, wasn't giving the ball away, was able to receive it and turn on it without giving it away. you just felt so much more comfortable with him on the pitch, and I feel like that's going to be a theme this season with Mateus Fernandes. So really nice cameo, nothing groundbreaking. I don't think it was unbelievable, but it was nice to have him on the pitch.
Next up is Dominic Solanke. Came on with 20 minutes to go. 4s all round. You guys given him a 3.3. I don't think really he did much. Only had 20 minutes, so obviously it wasn't his fault that we lost the game. The game was gone by the time he came on, but I don't really remember too much that he did.
Had a shot blocked, which is probably more than Richarlison did in the 70 minutes, but other than that, one other thing is he should have had a free kick on the edge of the box. For that foul by Sarr,
and that's why he gets it for.
He completely wiped him when that should have been a foul, wasn't given. Yeah, didn't really do too much.
Rodrigo Bentancur, 5s all round. You guys giving him a 4.4. Comes on, and I think he impacted why we had a bit more control in the middle of the park. However, he contested a lot of duels, didn't win too many of them, and gave away a penalty. With a poor push in the back, really. So. Yeah, but up and down from Bentancur, but I think he definitely deserved to start over Bergvall.
Yeah, him just being a bit more competitive in duels helped us a little bit, and that just made us a little bit more competitive in that second half. So it was a positive sub, but yeah, I don't think he came on. I don't think he looked his sharpest again. I think you could see with the penalty he was just off the pace a little bit, but I think he was okay.
Yeah, he came on and within like 2 minutes he gave away a penalty, pretty much. And then you go to Roberto De Zerbi. 3s all round for De Zerbi, 3.9 from you guys. For me, picked the wrong team, and he knew it. He knew it before the game. He picked the wrong team, so he's definitely got to be marked down for that. After the comments he made after the game, we're not ready for this season, and he's the manager, so it's got to go down to him why we're not ready, even though there are a few situations maybe out of his control. But there are players that are there that have had a pre-season, so at least they should be ready. Tactically, I don't think he got across to his players exactly how we want to play and how to implement it. So I just think it was a bad day at the office for everyone, and Roberto De Zerbi was at the helm, and I felt like he should have managed the game better. He made changes at half-time and did kind of somewhat rectify it a little bit. It still wasn't great in the second half, but it was a lot better than it was in the first half.
Yeah, so... Yeah, gets a couple marks because he did change it quickish at half-time, and things got a little bit better. But there's nothing I can sit here and say he did well in terms of what he brought to the team. There's questionable selections, grey captain, horrible defensively, weren't able to even create any chances offensively. Build-up seemed to be horrible. The long ball to Richarlison didn't seem to work at all. I can't sit here and say he did anything well. Look, I still really rate him as a manager, of course. And this was a very difficult day for him. Like it almost felt like there was only so much he could do in terms of yesterday to get a result. I feel like we were kind of on a hiding to nothing when you look at the situation. But I don't think he helped himself either in a few situations.
Yeah. So look, that is our player ratings. Let us know your ratings in the comments section below. As we move on,
Just quickly, being a goal at Brighton, 1-0 to Brighton.
Lindelof own goal. If any of you've got him in FPL. But yeah, that's the player ratings. Important to note that Marmoush is in the squad for Man City today, but no Savinho.
Oh,
that's a bad own goal. It is a bit unlucky.
Hit the post and goes back in off him.
But yeah, by the way, Erling Haaland has shaved off all his hair. I envisage a bad season for him now.
Is he going to be
Samson.
I was about to say, going to be like
Samson, mate. Haaland cannot be shaving off his hair, man.
I remember it happened with Adebayor. Just so you say that. Oh, block shot. I remember Adebayor was having a mad season, like scoring nearly 30 goals, and then he shaved off his hair, and all his form just drained out of him. I remember.
But let's get into reacts, I guess.
Yeah,
reacts. Because see how the internet did react to the game yesterday. So, first up, big up Opta. The Opta analyst says no team has have seen opponents make high turnovers against them as frequently as Tottenham since the start of last season. Only Burnley have conceded more shots following high turnovers than they have since 25-26. Yesterday was Brentford's attempt 4 shots following a high turnover of possession.
I mean, hopefully. De Zerbi was brought in to fix that pretty much exact thing. So I know it's the first game and he clearly hasn't fixed it after one game. But yeah, it just goes to show how bad we were, especially last season, in just trying to play out the back. It was horrific.
Yeah. Opta Joe says Tottenham conceded 26 shots in their 3-0 defeat to Brentford, despite averaging a 59.8% possession. This is the highest possession by a team to face more than 25 shots in a Premier League match on record since 2003-04. Wow.
That's mad.
That's damning.
It's the highest amount. So, I mean, to be fair, the first half, I actually think we didn't have a lot of possession, did we? I think it flipped in the second half.
I think it was really bad in like the opening 20-25 minutes, and then by the end of it, I think we had like 46% possession.
Yeah, but that's damning, isn't it? It shows it doesn't matter how much of the ball we have. If you can't defend, it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah. Aya Spurs says that £50 million bid for Bergvall.
What could have been? What could have been? I know a lot of people are going in on it, but I thought it was a bit funny. But yeah, a lot of people now are starting to wonder, did we miss a trick selling him?
Spurs Journo, big up to him. He says, giving Bergvall a pity start when he was supposed to not be in our plans has already cost us points. Now you know why you were on the chopping block. Joker. How did we turn down real profit for this guy?
I disagree with that first bit. I mean, not the fact that we gave him a pity start, but as someone who was not supposed to be in our plans, I think De Zerbi's been the one who convinced him to stay. He was the one who wanted out. So I don't think you can then say, like, we didn't want him in our plans. We're the ones who convinced him to stay.
Yeah. I think it was definitely a pity start. And that should never happen. That should never happen in the Premier League. Ever. No matter what the situation is going into it. I think it's so wrong. I really do. Jack Kelly says Spurs are utterly hopeless. No reason why they won't be in another. There's no reason why they won't be in another relegation battle. Shut
Fulham
up, Jack.
fan.
You're the ones that are going to be in a relegation battle, mate.
Yeah, you watch. People, everyone's laughing now. We'll see who last.
Connor Moore says Spurs title charge. Oh wait. So this is a Spurs title charge, and after yesterday, get back out.
Lasted one game.
So the next one, this was a Spurs fan in the away end
he's
yesterday.
become iconic.
Yeah.
This Spurs. I think that face. We were all making that face yesterday. What the hell was that? I think that's all we're thinking.
I mean, I remember seeing carbon copies of that in every away end last season and the season before, to be fair. Mark Hilltop says free kick went to Brentford because Spurs player was holding Michael Oliver, needs to be suspended.
Yeah, that one frustrated me. I know we were 3-0 down last minute, but that should have been a foul.
Barry says, by far De Zerbi's biggest career achievement is convincing Spurs that he's a good enough manager to justify backing as heavily as they have. Nah, I'm not having that. I'm not having that at all. De Zerbi is a very good manager, and we're right to back him. This one game does not change my opinion whatsoever.
Yeah, agreed. I'm not going to... I think there's a lot of reasons why yesterday happened. I think De Zerbi takes his share of the blame, but it doesn't automatically mean he's now a bad manager.
NDR says Jude Bellingham versus Mexico.
Just go back, yeah. Absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Lord Sugar took to social media and he says, to all the Spurs fans, don't worry, this is all tactical to lure the other teams into believing we are an easy touch.
Exactly. We're playing 4D chess here.
I said yesterday, we're just luring them into a full sense of security.
Spurs are playing 4D. De Zerbi knows exactly what he's doing.
Paddy Bowers said, it only took one game for Spurs and Man United to drain all optimism and confidence from their fans. You can't teach that. Some clubs just have it.
And we definitely do.
Yeah. Ben says, Spurs have essentially walked into TK Maxx and paid the original label price for everything. Shut up, mate. Just still salty that we took Mateus Fernandes off.
Exactly. They're still... I saw Santos and Tielemans yesterday. Exactly. I know you guys are so salty. We didn't play Hull, by the way. Brentford are good team.
This is literally coming from a fan base that lost to Hull yesterday.
Yeah, I know.
What are
They're
you
all getting
chatting
loud.
about?
See a lot of United fans getting loud.
What are you chatting about? Paddy Power says, rest in peace, Spurs being back August the 22nd to August the 22nd. Here's for a good time, not a long time. Alistair Gold tweeted out saying the Brentford fans are singing Thomas Frank, he's laughing at you.
God. Of course
Thomas
they're going to stick the boot in, the Brentford fans. Frank.
George Sessions says terrible start for Tottenham, but don't ignore the context. A load of debuts, plenty of key men missing, an attack which will change significantly, and opposition absolutely ready for game week 1, and undercooked Spurs. Probably only 3 of that 11 are in De Zerbi's best team. Give it time. And that's exactly what I'm feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
Brian Daigle says, first game of the season. Yeah, that was a massive anticlimax. Regulars to return, new signings to bed in, and hopefully the quality of attackers to come through the door as quickly as possible. When this Spurs team is going to look Spurs team is going to look very different. Come on, you Spurs. And I cannot wait for that day.
It'll be soon. Wednesday.
It feels like we're always just like waiting on something. You're waiting on players to come back, waiting for new signings to get integrated, waiting for this, waiting for that.
That's the life of a Tottenham
When's
fan.
our time going to come, man?
Give it a couple years, you'll see.
I was going to give it a couple of weeks. Then it'll be give it a couple of months.
Yeah, come on. Then you're like, you can't expect anything till March. We all know that.
Pythagoras in the boot says Brentford and Spurs are at a completely different stage in their cycles. Brentford are a settled side with genuine aspirations of pushing for Europe. Spurs are trying to undo the foundations laid by previous 2 managers through wholesale changes. Given that context, this really shouldn't come as a shock.
Yeah, and I think there is a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, I think in terms of coming as a shock, I don't think it's a shock that we didn't look ready. I don't think it's a shock that we didn't win the game. But for me, it was a shock of how bad we actually looked.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's just a reality check of how much we still got to do, and how long it's going to take. Not to say that we should expect these performances even over the next month, regularly, but maybe it's still there's a lot of change. As we were 17th last season. We're not just going to become some unbelievable footballing side straight away.
Yeah. BLTHFC says, can't believe how bad our pre-season was. Sure, a late World Cup doesn't help, and they're managing fitness, but Arsenal had Rice and Saka available. Madrid have Jude and Mbappe on right now. All these double games with 2 XLS, wasting time in Asia. Shocker. It's true, man. I saw Declan Rice come on for Arsenal. He looked phenomenal.
He started, yeah.
Oh, he started. He looked phenomenal.
Yeah, Saka scored.
Yeah.
Looking good. And yet all our players aren't ready.
Adam Nathan says, whoever organised a tour to the effing moon in a post-World Cup pre-season needs firing into the sun. Such ridiculous preparation in already curtailed summer. Almost no doubt in my mind it was Vinny's call, as there can't be many other humans who could be so stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's hampered us, the way we've dealt with pre-season. And I think we're carrying the cost of it now. It's cost us 1 game. Let's hope it doesn't cost us any more.
Jonathan Garman saying priorities. He had us on the big screen yesterday and he had Spurs on the small screen.
Big up, Jonathan. Big up to him.
Sam Tabitao.
No,
that's old. All right. Well, that is the way the internet did react to the game yesterday. Had to breeze past all of them. It was just painful at this point. But that is reaction. That is how the internet did react. Another goal in the Premier League. Disciple scoring. Rutter getting the assist.
That's good.
So Brighton 2, Aston Villa 0, and still 0-0 in Man City, Bournemouth as well. But let's move on and go to the Tottenham update.
Apparently, Ornstein says Martinelli's on his way to Al Hilal.
60 million, I've seen. 60 million.
Interesting.
Anyway, first up, we go to Pape Matar. So we heard with Pape yesterday that he's deleted all his social media posts and He's not happy that Spurs want to get rid of him. But Tom Walnut says Pape Matar has told Spurs that he wants to leave. With the arrivals of Tonali, Fernandes and Gallagher, Sarr wants to move for more game time. De Zerbi accepts his position. Galatasaray an option, but Premier League clubs are interested, and Sarr would like to remain in England. Reports in Turkey from Yangis Sabalonku says Pape Sarr has reached an agreement on personal terms with Galatasaray. Transfer fee negotiations underway. So it looks like he's going to be out the door very, very soon.
Yeah, look, those noises are getting louder, aren't they? I'm just surprised that we've known he's out the door for a while and no Prem teams have maybe jumped on it and just tried to get him through the door. It seems though we're letting this rumble on. Maybe he's not as highly rated as in the Prem as I think, but...
Well, the two clubs that we've heard are interested in have gone for better options.
Yeah, but you would think there would be more options. More clubs are looking at him, but hasn't come to pass, is what it is. If he goes to Turkey, I'm sure we'll get a decent fee from them.
Yeah. How much do you reckon he goes for? Let's say he goes to Galatasaray, 20 mil?
Yeah, between 20 and 25, I think we should be looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, so look, we'll see what happens if any Premier League club do come in for him. Yeah, do you think there will be a Premier club that come into him?
Yeah, I do. I think there might be, but whether he wants to go to Gala, he might. Because maybe he feels like he could be a main player there. Maybe if he goes to a different Prem club, depending who it is, might be difficult. I think I got a feeling he ends up at Gala, but let's see.
Next up, Richarlison. So with Richarlison, Nico Shearer, obviously not the most reliable, but he says Richarlison is ready to leave Tottenham this summer. The Brazilian is no longer central in Roberto De Zerbi's plans.
Was he ever?
Don't know. Started the game yesterday.
He did, due to necessity, I think. But yeah, to be honest, I know we've seen bad performances from Rishi before, but his heart didn't seem in it yesterday. He just seems so off it. Usually with Richarlison, he seems annoyed or frustrated when he's having a bad game or whatever. He just didn't seem to care yesterday. He was just like, well, whatever.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a sign of him knowing he's out the door.
Yeah, I think so. Look, I think he's played his last game for Tottenham. Great service to the club when we were able to get him on the pitch. Top goal scorer last season. And if we do sell him, what is that, the 4th year in a row we sold our top goal scorer?
Yep. It is.
Well, and you predict Solanke to be top goal scorer this season.
So he'll be out the door next year.
Could make it a 5th. And last but not least, on Cody Gakpo, again, not the best sources. Nico Shearer says that Tottenham are set to submit a new proposal to Liverpool to try and close the Cody Gakpo situation. Agreement in principle with the Dutch winger and Tottenham is there with a contract until 2031. And Ekrem Konar, even worse source, says that Tottenham are preparing a new official bid for Cody Gakpo. And I'll bring you the second part of both those in a minute. But they're saying new contacts between Spurs and Liverpool for Cody Gakpo about to take place.
We can contact them all they want and until they get Barkler over the line, it ain't happening. So might as well just wait. We might as well wait to contact them. I guess I don't mind getting the deal in place.
That's what I'm saying. Get the deal in place so you can push the button.
But it's probably in place already. What's more contacts going to do? They want 70 million. We're willing to bid it. And we have to wait for Barkler to sign or Minter or both.
But what both these journalists are saying... Are you going to wait for this one?
What
both these journalists are saying is
oh my God.
That Nico Shearer says that plan B is Mykhailo Mudryk. Ekrem Konar says that Mudryk has been offered to Tottenham, also under interest of Leeds, Coventry, Strasbourg.
I'm so happy it's only Nico Shearer and Ekrem Konar who are
But De Zerbi did say a couple of weeks ago that Mudryk is one of his sons.
He does like signing his sons. God. No chance we are signing Mykhailo Mudryk. Absolutely zero chance. Not happening. Not no way. Not no how.
He's one of De Zerbi's sons, though.
Doesn't matter. He hasn't played in, nearly 2 years. No chance.
Can you imagine the meltdown if we would sign him?
I saw Romano say yesterday, he said 100% he is leaving Chelsea. Like, they don't want him anywhere near the place. And yet, we'd be willing to take him on loan? Absolutely no chance.
His best football of his career came under Roberto De Zerbi.
Look, there was a reason that Chelsea spent 100 million on him because everyone thought he was a talented player. But when he was fit and playing, he was absolutely shocking. He now hasn't played for 2 years. I doubt he's improved his development over the last 2 years of not playing. So he's either just as bad or worse than what we saw, which was a really, really bad winger. So I've got no interest in Mudryk.
Yeah, me neither. So yeah, that's the transfer news for today. I'm sure some more topics will progress today and early stages of next week. Obviously, it's important to note Marmoush in the squad day today for Manchester City. No Savinho. We'll wait to see a bit later what happens with Cody Gakpo, if he's starting, if he's on the bench, if he's not in the squad. Most likely he will be starting. So make of that what you will. But look, that's your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories that we have brought you today. But that is it from us today. Thank you everyone for joining us today. We'll see you all very soon. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.